Hey guys, it's Connor Sundberg out here on another J&RS project. What we got going on here is a balcony over a garage. We're going to be putting a rubber roof down. We have all our shaping foam here, which allows us to build slope for water control. And we have our shelter built here to keep it nice and warm and dry in here while we work. Got all our walls built. We got everything marked out for our valleys and ridges, you could call them. And we're ready to start laying down this foam so we can get our rubber laid. So we got this started a little bit ahead of time here. We have some lines marked here. These will be our valleys that angle towards our scuppers here, and these will actually allow the water to escape the wall here. So we got all this prepped. We have everything marked and laid out so we know exactly where all our slopes are going. I'm starting with our smaller piece here. You can see it's got a taper there. We have a 1/2 inch here, 1.5 inch here that allows for a 1/4 inch per foot of slope. And there's also another piece that goes from 1.5 inches to 2.5 that butts into this. And then, so we'll start with this first, go with our next piece, and then we start stepping it up as we go away. But the first couple pieces are a little bit tricky because depending on where you lay your first piece, it's gonna affect your end pieces. So you wanna just make sure you don't have little pieces left over anywhere, because those are a lot harder to get tacked down. Sheets are 4x4, so I'm actually gonna make a mark here at 4 feet because I want to start at this start against the furthest wall. I'm actually just gonna rest this here, make a mark out the scupper. I know this is 6 inches. And that way when I cut this out with this notch to follow this ridge, everything will fit, and we'll basically have a starter of a 4 there and then a cut over there. But I want to get this piece in first because it's harder to work in than out. So what I'm doing right here now is basically I'm building a slope that goes towards this wall. But in between these scuppers here, we can't have it stop at that wall because obviously it'll just sit there. And so we're going to have both slopes going like this down to this point out the scupper. So I'm cutting out this piece because I have to actually put a separate piece in that's sloping this way to match this, so everything comes away from the walls. And same thing with those corners there, we have those sloping out to meet the slope coming this way, just so we bring everything to these 2 scuppers here. So what we got going on here now, so basically we only have 2 shapes to work with. One's 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, and then from 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches, which is this one. And after that point, we lay down a sheet of 2 inch. So then that way we can just start with our 1/2 inch piece again, because we have 2 inches here, and another 1/2 inch will match up right with this piece here. So we just keep on running that. So every row we add another layer of 2 inch below. All right, day 2 out here. We're getting ready to lay our comp board. So we got here. We snapped a line here 6 feet away so we could get an overlap over all these joints. We decided to start right there and work our way up to the wall, get our full sheets down to get our overlap correct, and then we can work from that line down into all these valleys and stuff. So that way everything just looks neat and clean. What we got here, these are the fasteners that we were using. The screws are depending on how thick our foam is, so we have a couple different sized screws we're using. Then we got this 3-inch washer here. One side's more flat, one side has a little bit more round on it. Put that flat side down, put the screw in there. Basically we're just sucking this foam or this comp board down tight so it obviously doesn't lift up. So we're cutting our first sheet here at 6 feet. You can see we snapped our line right here, 2 feet in from the joint. And then we're cutting at 6 feet because this joint is at 8 feet. So that way all our joints like this are in the middle of the sheet. That way if there's any discrepancy from sheet to sheet, this will simply just cover that out and everything will be nice and flush. All right, we're getting ready to lay down some rubber here. We got our comp board down, fixed any boards along this wall here. Our first step is just gonna be lay the rubber out, make sure everything fits. And then we're gonna glue it down in sections, rolling it back, gluing it, rolling it out. Keep that process going. We'll get all the flat areas done first, then we'll do the walls, and then we'll do all our corner flashings. So there's just a few steps to get it all down. Let's do it in increments. So we're laying out our rubber right now. What we're doing is our rubber is going to come up this wall, go over the top and down a little bit on the other side. So we're just measuring and double checking, making sure we have enough to fold over once the shelter comes down. So we got a 10-foot roll. We got to be up that wall 1 foot, this wall 1'6". We got to fold it out this way first. Yeah, buddy. Just gonna pull it back. We're gonna go all the way. All the way to this wall. Right there. Pull it straight. Got all the wrinkles out. Okay, so we folded our rubber up a couple times. The purpose of that was basically we're going to glue the middle of this area first, and we only folded back just the middle area. So we'll glue this comp board in this area, glue the rubber, and that we're stuck back there basically. So we folded it a couple times so we'd have room to stay back there and actually start, because we have to push the rubber from that side. So that'll give us area to be able to push this rubber up to this point. Then we'll glue this section of rubber, roll it out, and then we can pull back that other side onto here, and then it'll leave us room over here to actually push that other end out. So you got to do it, because we have these parapet walls here, we don't have room to go anywhere, so we have to basically do more gluing in different times. So basically when you're rolling this out, you don't want to leave any buggers anywhere. Like right here, because those will take longer to dry, and we want this rubber to be, or this glue to be tacky when we put it down, and those spots will still be gassing off. For when you're ready to lay down the rubber, is you take your hand, you're putting it on this glue, and your hands, it's tacky, but your hand's not sticky. There's no glue coming up with your hand. At that point, it's ready to roll your rubber back down. So we're at that point now. What we're going to do is basically flop this, try to get a nice clean edge out there. We want to try to eliminate any creases that we can. Those will come out as basically wrinkles. So once we get that good, we'll actually just start rolling this forward, and we'll keep on. There is going to be some spots that do wrinkle, but you need to get all them wrinkles out. And then we'll stop at this point here. Once we get that there, we'll actually just kind of go out there and push that down, because that's going to turn into a nightmare problem there. That factory, the sheet was folded up. We want that to stick down. Otherwise, we'll actually have a big ripple in there. Did you push it down right here, Luke? That's more critical to push it down right here. Shit. Then we can keep on going. It's gonna be a little bit harder to get this one to go, but get it to go, she'll go. Look, you're putting a crinkle in it. Ah, there you go. So what I'm doing here is just pushing any of the major wrinkles out. And a lot of these bubbles will actually, you won't be able to get them away right away. There's some just minor bubbles. And they'll actually come back even after you put pressure down. Once everything tightens out, pulls down, a lot of the bubbles will actually go away too. But glue is still gassing off just a little bit. So now we're using this broom and put down pressure like that, but we want to go this way, so we push any air out either way. Basically, we're making that glue bond, or we always started right here, so you want to push out that way because you're just pushing air underneath there. So like right here is where there's nothing right here that's glued. You can see that? You want to push that out that way, push out any air. All right, we've got all our rubber glued down on our flat area here. Moving on to our parapet walls. The first cut I made here is in the corner. I cut this back at a 45 approximately. That way, this piece of rubber right here will go up against the wall, and this will wrap around onto this wall, and then this piece will actually overlap on that. So we just have a small pinhole that we'll use some rubber to flash our pinholes there. And then I did that in the other corner as well. And I did a little relief cut here in the center because this flat area actually isn't flat. It has a little hump in it. So I cut a relief cut because that joint's actually going to open up a little bit, and I don't want to create any voids in there. So I cut that relief joint, cut that corner, got this corner. We'll glue it up just the same way we do the flat area. We'll glue the rubber, we'll glue the wall, wait for it to tack up, and we'll put it up on. So we went along and pushed everything down into the corners, nice. So we don't get any bridging there. And now what we're doing is just slowly working it up the wall, avoiding adding any air pockets in there. You're gonna have to cut a joint there. Take them scissors and cut straight down, because this comes down, it's creating a pinch point. Down to where? Just down past that opening. So we worked our wall up here. I kept this away. So what I want to actually do here is push this rubber into that corner, just like we did here, to prevent any bridging. Once we get that good, we'll work our way out again. just like so. We'll put pressure on everything. That way we've got a nice clean inside corner for this piece now to go over and lap onto this side, so we have a good seal there. Right here we have the rubber going over. It's going to go down the other wall, but over here we don't have that right now. So what we're going to end up doing is actually getting like a 1.5 foot piece of rubber, making a joint here. It's going to wrap up and over to match these walls, just so we get that waterproof in there.